Hello, and welcome to this instructional video produced by the Office of Grants Management at Montgomery County. The purpose of this video is to provide a guide for applicants on how to complete and submit a budget using the Euna budget tool. Before starting on your application, please review your specific program solicitation and notice of funding opportunity, the NOFO, as some grant programs require separate budget uploads. To reiterate, this video is meant for users trying to submit an application for programs that are specifically using the Euna budget tool. On screen here is an example of an incomplete application in Euna. Users can see it's incomplete because these sections on the left are gray and not green. To access the budget, I click on Budget. This will then open a separate tab, which means you are now in the Euna budget tool. Once here, applicants will be tempted to start by inserting totals at the top of the sheet. This section is not open for edits. I repeat, this section is not open for edits by OGM or applicants. Users must insert cost via budget category. In Euna, these are referred to as budget items. Users can access these by clicking on category titles. I'm going to insert costs under personnel as an example. Once you click the category title, a wheel symbol will appear. Let's say for this example, I want to insert subcategories for HQ and field personnel. I can insert a subcategory for HQ personnel here. I can rename it HQ, save, and then insert a table for those costs. PM labor, 110. I can then insert another subcategory here, renaming it through the same process. I'm going to rename this one field and then insert another table to add costs under that section. For this example and for this training, I'm going to insert costs without a subcategory, which is most common for OGM applications. So now that I want to remove these subcategories, I click Remove, and for each item removed, I get a warning. Okay, so now that we are here and I want to insert costs without a subcategory, I click on Personnel and I click on the wheel symbol. I want to insert 2 personnel with a 10% indirect cost rate applied. Users click on the same wheel symbol and then click Add Table. Once you have the table visible, you can insert information directly into each box. PM for project manager, PM labor, 2 units, 10 unit costs for each. Please keep in mind, users cannot save a budget if each line item does not have a corresponding description and title. If each line item doesn't have a corresponding description and title, for example, in this one with no description, I go up and hit save, it gives me a warning that says I need a description. If each line item does not have a corresponding description and you try to save, you will get a warning and not be able to save. As you could see, unit and unit costs will auto-calculate. Extended cost and cost should be the same. Please leave GL code blank unless otherwise indicated by OGM. And if users want to change the category of a line item cost, they can do so here. I'm going to insert the second staff member by adding a row. Let's make this staff member an assistant. Assistant labor. I'm going to do 1 unit for 10, and you can see the unit cost and extended cost and the cost all auto-calculate. Please be sure to save your progress on a regular basis using this blue symbol. All right, now that we've inserted those costs, we are done, right? Wrong. We need to insert indirect costs. For indirect costs, the Euna grant guide, which is available through the OGM resources page, provides a detailed breakdown on how to insert match, cost share, and indirect information. But for this example of 2 staff members, let's say I want to apply a negotiated indirect rate of 10% to personnel costs. I go up to the top here, and where it says indirect costs, I select negotiated rate. I will then get this warning saying that any item selected as indirect below in this section will be included as such. Once I click OK, an option will appear for me to assign each line item the indirect cost rate. That is here. This will automatically calculate the indirect costs depending on the percentage I choose. So let's say I want to choose 10%. That is applying to these, and you'll see this total indirect cost automatically calculated with the indirect cost for those personnel, which then auto-calculated into the total amount, direct plus indirect. Moving on to other sections of the budget, please note that most OGM programs do not require program income information. NOFOs will clearly indicate which information is required. Any information outside of those specific requirements is not necessary. If applicants have questions on what is required or not, please reach out to OGM. Grant programs will also require a budget narrative. This is found at the bottom of the Euna budget tool. Please do not use any special formatting or fonts. For a preview of the entered budget narrative, which I will showcase now using sample text, this is text inserted directly from a Word document. If I want to see how this will look as a budget narrative, I click on the PDF icon here, and then an attachment will automatically download. And here's how it looks as an attachment. Similarly, if users want to preview how the budget will look for county reviewers and be incorporated into the final grant agreement, users can click on this Excel icon here, which will automatically download an attachment of the entered information. As an example, here's my budget as an attachment as it loads. Here's what the budget will look like in your award. The budget narrative is on this tab, but it will be incorporated using the PDF format. So back to Euna. The data input that OGM will cross-reference is here. Total amount, direct plus indirect. If this application is for a renewal and the award allocation has been communicated by OGM, this is what the county will use to ensure applicants have the correct award amount. If this amount does not align with the figure that OGM communicated, the application will be returned, even for a $1 difference. If this is a new application and not for a renewal program, the amount entered in this total box, in this total amount box, will be what your organization is requesting from the county for the specific fiscal year of your application. To review, the biggest issues I encounter when managing grant applications in Euna are that users say they cannot edit this top section, but as we discussed, they need to be edited per budget category down here. All line items must have a corresponding title and description, or you will get an error and not be able to save. Users do not need to put in cost for cost categories if they are not applicable. For example, if I do not have equipment, I do not need to touch that section. And the total that OGM will use to cross-reference against its records is located here. Total amount, direct plus indirect. This concludes the Euna budget instructional video. Please let OGM know if you have any questions regarding the budget process in Euna. Thank you for your time.